Hey everyone, this video is to announce the release of the Zen of Dr. Shu Li. This is a novel about kidnapping and deception, and it's a journey where danger may reveal the angel of the soul. So it's a second edition, actually. I've completely revised the novel. I published it about 7 years ago, and now I've just changed up the whole thing and re-releasing it, okay? And it's going to be tomorrow. So if you're listening to this video around the time of December 22nd, December 21st, 2020, or the 22nd or the 23rd, hey, head on over to Amazon. I'm going to have the link in the show notes below for your free copy of the book. And that's going to be available on December 22nd and the 23rd. So you'll be able to get a free copy of the book on those 2 days. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just read chapter 1. Okay, so this is the Zen of Dr. Shu Li, and the first chapter is titled A Dream of Autonomy. And the time, I've got a timestamp in every chapter because this whole journey is moving rather rapidly. So this happens on Tuesday at 6:45 a.m. in Seattle, Washington. So that's where we start with this journey. So chapter title again is A Dream of Autonomy. Stars dusted the 1,000-year-old Venice of China, the ancient city of Lijiang, where a feast of colors and shapes collided. The northwestern jewel was buttressed on 3 sides by lush green mountains, and to the east, Jade Dragon Snow Mountain crowned the valley with the crest of the Dragon's Back, a spectacular string of glaciers that had inspired poets for centuries. The Himalayan mountains sheltered Lijiang's fertile valley from the icy winter winds and blessed the town with breezes to cool the summer's blaze. Narrow cobblestone streets formed a city interlaced by canals and crossed by stone bridges. Flower gardens fronted every home. The valley flourished with 8,000 species of exotic plants, many of which were medicinal, and nearby the Li River was a calm waterway, nestled between miles of elliptical-shaped mountains that were represented in thousands of classical Chinese ink landscape paintings. Lijiang was Shu Li's dream destination to heal her body and mind, a remote plateau in Yunnan where she always felt free and secure. But Jade Dragon Snow Mountain felt like an eternity away from waking up in her Seattle townhouse this morning. Today, Shu Li felt the moment was near when she could not turn back. She worried, her body tensed and her throat constricted. Quickly, she turned to dressing and slipped a silk stocking over her toes, tugged and slid the translucent material over her knee and up her thigh with a familiar motion. She clasped the garter belt hook on the top of the densely meshed portion and reached around to the back of her leg to catch the back hook. She finished by stepping into a pair of sling-back sandals and fastening the ankle straps. Every man she ever dated told her she had a great bod and terrific legs. It was only her most recent boyfriend who said she had beautiful breasts. Her jet black above-the-knee-length skirt was a mere size 0. For a Chinese woman in her 30s, Shu Li prided herself on being in shape and staying in shape. She required tremendous bodily strength and stamina to perform at the level of skill her Qigong acupuncture practice demanded. Shu Li flew down the stairs and nearly slipped on the marble floor entryway, but stopped abruptly once she heard the familiar chime. Her long black hair clasped in a gold clip hit the cell as she swiped the glass surface. She recognized his greeting, a low tone that always calmed her down. It was Robert Camp, her colleague and dear friend. Robert stood nearly 6 feet tall, with a staunch build. His hair was chestnut without any sign of gray, even though he was nearly 40 years old. 20/20 vision would be too mild a description for Robert's eyesight, and his intellectual perceptions were deep and penetrating. He believed his vision was a divine gift that would help him solve problems others simply discarded in frustration. Robert would always say that he was a methodological entomologist and Shu Li was an intuitive healer. He had just wished her skills would rub off on him so that he could use them to solve his scientific nightmare, colony collapse disorder, or CCD. "Did your brother go for the bait like you thought?" he asked. Shu Li felt she had waited patiently for years. Now, circumstances were close to perfect. She felt certain she would be successful by deliberately forcing the last piece of the puzzle into place. I reminded him of how he might trigger a downward spiral for the US dollar, she said to Robert. He could turn it into his own gain. Of course, it would really benefit me. Well, you have created an ambitious high-risk proposal. Shu, do you really think this is the way to achieve your independence? His voice sounded stern but friendly. I pressed him toward a decision, Robert. I feel it's inevitable. Nothing can shake my confidence now. It's simply too well planned, Shu Li said. She knew the circulation of yesterday's news article would be far-reaching since it had been published in the New York Times. I'll get back with you as soon as Li Jin and I reconnect. Shu Li despised her older brother. She had every reason to, but she persuaded him so shrewdly that Li Jin had no idea of her driving force behind his grasp of the situation. He fell into the trap. She knew precisely what he was looking for. What he did not know was what motivated her. He never would have guessed. No one would have. Robert hummed a soft reply. No matter how precisely you execute, he said, with what you have in mind, Shu, there's bound to be a hole somewhere along the way. And then he paused. I still think you should reconsider now before you launch the game.